Join me as we visit the high school football programs and schools at Muskego High School just outside Milwaukee and Badger High School in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Haven't done a road trip in a while, but it is time. We've had 2 big clinics this winter, but now it's time to just do an old school Chief Pigskin road trip. We're going to the Milwaukee area, which is a great area, by the way. Really looking forward to being up there, but gonna visit Muskego, visit the O-line coach there, a wing T O-line coach. That was a request from one of our members. And then we're gonna head down to Lake Geneva to Badger High School, who were the state champs a year ago, and visit Coach Hensler and his O-line coach. This is going to be a great little trip. So it's today at about noon, Friday at noon. I should be home Saturday at noon. Great road trip. Let's enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoy looking around these schools and communities.
Turn left. Take the next left, then turn right.
So excited to be at Muskego High School alongside Colin Smith, O-line coach, co-O-line coach. Is that right?
Yes, coach.
Who else coaches it with you?
Eric Hetzel. He's another Muskego High School alumni. He's been coaching here since 1999. Just another great guy, another great asset. Been here a long time, knows a lot about football, knows a lot about wing T offensive line play, and just an overall great guy.
Well, we had a request for wing T O-line play. Somebody just reached out to me and said, can you find someone? I put it out in the Twitterverse, like, hey, who can help me find somebody? Somebody got us in touch with you guys, and I know what good football Muskego plays, and so excited to get up here to Muskego, gorgeous school, to talk a little wing T O-line play with you guys. And you just finished your presentation, which was a ton of fun to listen to. Tell me this, some quick questions that just came up for me as you're talking. Because people ask me this. When I first I might take over a new job, and I'll talk to our O-line guy, and I'll tell him, we block shoulders. And I know on 2 occasions, my O-line coach, who had never been a part of wing T before, kind of looks at me like I'm crazy. Like, this goes against everything I've ever worked on. So I know what I usually tell guys, but what's your explanation of why do wing T guys shoulder block?
You know, it's a great question. It's one that we get asked a lot of times from other coaches or youth coaches, or sometimes we just ask ourselves. We shoulder block because that is what we want to do sometimes we don't always have the biggest lineman, right? Sometimes we don't have the 6'5", 6'6", 300-pound guys. We have kids with a lot of heart. We have kids who are strong in the squat rack. We're going to get a body on a body. We're going to accelerate our feet. We're going to drive that defensive lineman. We're going to relocate him that way, right? We're not going to be our running back's not reading and looking for a hole. He has a predetermined hole. He's going to go through that hole. If something gets messed up along the way, we have ways to go around that. But our job is to be a mover, and we are going to physically move a defensive lineman from his location currently to the next. Best way for us to do that is with our shoulder, locking on, big surface area, and accelerating our feet.
When in your presentation towards the end, you talked about your matrix. You said this is something we do in practice every day. At the beginning of the year, it's like a 25-minute thing. By the end of the year, it's about 10 minutes. If you could just give the viewer, what is the matrix when it comes to your practice time?
Yeah, absolutely. Matrix is, I would say, our most important drill. Again, it's going to build that kind of esprit de corps with our linemen, a lot of that pride in that position group. As goes the line, as goes the team, is what we say. And we are a unit. We are instilling discipline. We are instilling that communication that is so important to what it is that we do. Our linemen are going to turn, talk, and point, communicate with each other, look each other in the eye, and we're going to take a 6-inch step every time, and everyone's going to do it in unison, okay? We like to think of ourselves as soldiers. We're going to be troops. We're going to be, Marines, whatever the case is. We're going to march. We're going to bring our toes this high. We're going to bring our knees this high. We're going to look good doing it, and we're going to make sure that we're effective doing it as well.
And I just loved listening to your presentation, excited to get it edited and get it out there. So thank you so much for presenting. Hope you guys will get a chance to check it out. But what is it, this last question I have for you, and I love asking people this question because it's something that's near and dear to my heart. What is something that you feel like you're a part of a very successful program, and when you're a part of a successful program, it's a hard habit to fight that you feel good about what you know about the game. But when's the last time you remember thinking, I need to get better at, and what was that?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I need to get better at. As a coach, you never stop growing. There's a million things we could all get better at. I think of the story with John Madden, thinking he's really good and knows a lot, and he's sitting listening to Lombardi talk about buck sweep, and Madden walks out and says, I have no idea. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing with football, right? There's a million things that we could learn, and some things that I think I could personally get better at is just my overall football IQ, learning a lot about different offenses from different styles, different coaches, different terminology, and especially as an offensive line guy in a run-heavy system. I think passing is something that I could always get better at, and just always looking for little things to perfect my craft as well. What are some different cues that I can take from teams, from coaches, that I can utilize in our own practices and in our own program?
Okay, I thought that was the last question, but I just thought of something else. If they came back to you tomorrow and said, Coach, we're moving you to a different position, but you get to pick it, where would you want to go?
That's a great question. I think it would be interesting to be the quarterback coach here at Muskego. I can't be the quarterback coach. Who am I kidding?
It's fine. You can tell
Oh, man. You know what? Yeah, we'll put that in there. You know what? Tell you what, I would love to be the defensive line coach. I think, I played a little D-line when I was in middle school and in high school. I wasn't overly gifted at it, but there's something about being in the trenches that's just so much fun, and, busting heads and getting after people and having that kind of tenacity, that violence, that nasty in there. So definitely a defensive line.
Yeah, you like it down there.
Absolutely.
Down there in the mix of it all. Well, thanks again, Coach, for having us. We hope that you guys will enjoy that. Tomorrow, off to Lake Geneva to go to Badger High School. Badger High School in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. If you've never been here, it's actually a very popular spot. How long have you been here?
17 years. So my wife and I just came on vacation and we stayed. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but 17 years we've been here.
Well, it's a great spot. You said it's a school of about 1,000 kids.
Yeah, a little over that, about 1,300.
And you guys made the run this year, 14-0.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to enjoy that at all?
There was some various other stuff that happened, not to get too far into it, but in level 3 I had a heart attack on the sideline. So
during a game?
Yeah, like literally during the game, and was able to be back at practice the next Tuesday and was there for the last 2 games. So yes, I did enjoy it. It was unbelievable. I don't know if I got the full experience, so love to try it again.
Yeah, why not do it again?
Right.
Tell me this. When you come off a year where you go 14-0, which is perfect. You cannot do better than that.
Right.
How do you get yourself to pause and go, okay, I still need to try to be good at this.
Yeah.
How do I avoid this? I've arrived. I've got it figured out.
Yeah, it's been really difficult. I can tell you that. The good part has been because of a great season, we've gotten a lot of attention as coaches. So that's given us access to a lot of the great football minds around the nation. So as a coaching staff, we've done pretty good in continuing our research and continue to try to grow. We've struggled a little bit with sort of developing a plan for the next year with the kids. So the X's and O's stuff has been pretty good, but every time we try to make a little bit of headway in putting our stamp on 2024's season, we kind of get drawn back into 2023, and it's been difficult. Like, we'll have a good stretch, and then this totally generous community member will have this dinner at this restaurant, and it'll kind of drag us back into that. And then, then we get a little bit of a head start, and then, the rings came in. And so we've been consistently kind of pulled back into 2023, which can be dangerous. So we're actively trying to fight that.
Now, anytime you have a good program, which you guys have been winning now for a while, you have to have a great staff. However, what I think is commonly overlooked is how hard it is to keep good men around.
Yeah.
How have you been able to keep good coaches here at Badger?
Yeah, I've been fortunate and just unbelievably lucky to get good people that share the same value system. So our coaching staff is really great for a lot of reasons, but one of them is we have all sorts of different personalities, but we all have the same, tree down the middle, and we all share the same value system. So really lucky to get coaches that believe in the same stuff I do in terms of, how to treat kids and how kids should act and what character development and that kind of stuff. So I think that more than anything is what keeps coaches around. If you share the same value system, it's pretty easy to stick around. When you have all these different philosophies, life philosophies, then it's a little easier to move on to the next school. So I think that I've been really lucky with that.
Well, we're going to close out this interview here in a moment, and you've turned today over to your assistants to
Absolutely.
speak. What do you think that you guys do well up front? Because just to let everybody know, it's their offensive line coaches speaking. What do you, in your opinion, what do you guys do well up front?
Well, our O-line coaches will clean it up a little bit better than I do, but our kids are pretty nasty up front, and that's about the best compliment I could give a group of guys, that they play really, really fast, and they are really, really violent. And I think some of that is just the sort of the nature of the kids we get, but I think a giant chunk of that is how we train them and the progression in which our O-line coaches train them.
Well, I think I love when I turn on someone's film, whether you're preparing for them, you'll watch a couple plays, and I just can feel that moment where you go, crap, they play hard. But that's not an accident. That's coached. Playing hard is coached.
And I think one of the coolest things is we found a way, specifically our O-line coaches, but in general our team, we found a way to get that out of kids on Friday night without hardly doing any of it during the week. Like, we haven't gone live in practice in maybe 12 years. And we just don't take guys to the ground. But that's a testament to our coaches, that they're finding a way to teach it in a safe way and then, turn the dogs loose on Friday. And it's been wonderful.
Well, Coach, thanks for having us here at Badger. We're going to turn it over and start let the O-line coaches speak.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate all you do.
We've got brewer games, we got chicken wings, so those cool meetings that we talked about. I would think
Check. This is documented,
All right, so we are here, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, Badger High School. The Badger Badgers, alongside their O-line coaches, fresh off a state championship, Brian Kaplan, David Davila. Coaches, what did you cover today in your presentation? Because you guys went for over an hour, so detailed.
Yeah, we try to cover quite a few topics. So first, we kind of talked about our coaching philosophy as a program, and I think the main message there was it's okay to be different. That you go to a clinic, you see, hey, you got to do it this way, that way. That it's okay to be different and go against the grain. And obviously our offense is option, which not a lot of people are running these days, but also how we block and how we do things is different. We get into our practice philosophy, and then we talk about style of play. And when we are considering, hey, when a D coordinator or D lineman watches our film, what do we want them to say? We want them to say, man, these guys fly off the football and they finish their blocks. We went through and talked about different drills we do to train our guys to play fast, and then different drills we do to make sure they're finishing.
I'll turn this question over to you, David. I've seen it happen more and more recently that teams will assign 2 coaches to coach the offensive line, but a lot of programs still letting one man do it. Give us an idea of the benefit that having 2 men is for your program.
Yeah, so back to your original question as far as like what we talked about, one of the things I spoke about was how we were able to organize our practices in our indie session. Fortunate enough, Coach Hensler does a great job of giving us a bigger chunk of time to have a good indie session. And then by that, him and I can split up the O-line, to make it smaller groups so they have more reps. And then we can flip-flop that, and now we're getting multiple reps at multiple situations, and we can do that in our indie sessions. We'll kind of bring them back to a group. Then it's another indie session because we're working on something else. But it is, for the coaches out there, if you can go and get another O-line coach, if there's only one, I don't think you're scratching the surface of the potential of your O-line.
Now, do you guys split it up per position or just?
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't talk about when I talked about organization. So typically we're just looking at for reps. We're looking for high reps, so we're trying to reduce the number of people that are in those lines. What I didn't get into was when we get into our specific skilled stuff, I will take the outside guys and he will take the inside guys. So he's got center and both guards, and I have tackles and tight ends, and there are certain plays that we have to work on, specific techniques due to the plays that we're working with. He's working on combo blocks. We might be working on combo blocks. It just depends on what we're doing, but we're fortunate enough to have multiple O-line coaches where we can split those responsibilities, and then again, you're getting high reps because that's the position that they play. So.
Now, one of the themes today, Brian, has been get off. That concept of get off, getting off the ball, and it's something that you guys do so well. When I was talking to Coach Hensler, it is Hensler, right?
Yep.
Talking to Coach Hensler about the get off and how you see it on film right away. What is your elevator conversation for a guy that's a coach going, how do you guys get off the ball? How are you getting it done? Because it is coaching. It doesn't just happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it starts simple with the stance. Again, in our talk, we broke it down. We probably spent a good 10, 15 minutes just talking about stance and how important that is. And then I think it's your starts, right? And timing up that snap count and being very having really high standards on, hey, no, you have to come off the ball on the H of HUT. So, it goes back to like any skill, like the more you train it, the better the kids are going to get at it. So it's something that we spend at least 5-10 minutes on every day, is working stance, working those first few steps, and then just having great starts.
One of the things that for anyone that I think is important for position coaches is allowing your position coaches to create a culture within their own little community of their position. So any of you coaches out there, if you're a position coach, be excited about that and attack that. Create culture within your position, and head coaches encourage your assistant coaches to create culture within those positions. And we'll just kind of finish up with this concept, David, when you talked about some culture within your own O-line. What would be if you had a coach that hadn't implemented anything culture-wise, where would you recommend they start? Just try this one little activity to start building culture within the O-line.
Yeah, I think the culture begins on I would say in the off season. We do a lot of stuff in the off season with our guys, and so it's just trying to be, I guess, touching things on a personal level. So like inviting them over to our house to go play a bags tournament, or going out with them to go and have a wing eating contest. But once they get to see us on a more human level, it's one of those, there's a trust factor that's being built. And then from there, we talked about the book studies, some of the books that we read and some of the messages that we're trying to create. We try to dive in deep with how do they feel. And getting to know who they are, and then we kind of build off of that, and then that kind of translates into the season. There is a trust that has been built, but I think any position coach can do it. We read, off the top of my head, I can't remember the coach's book, but he had talked about small little fraternities within position groups, D-backs, they all get to hang out above the line. Yeah, and You know, he talked about having those individual groups and that coach leading that. And you can do whatever you want, whatever fun things you want to do with them. I know one of the things we didn't put in our slideshow is the paintball stuff. We took the kids paintballing this year. The last couple of years, we took them to a high ropes course where they have to work together as a team. I mean, there's certain things we are doing with them out of season because we're hoping that those trust factors will translate into season.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here. You guys, if you want to see their presentation, check it out over at clinic.chiefpigskin.com. Of course, if you're seeing this 5 years from now, their presentation is probably right here on YouTube as well. So thanks for checking us out. Coaches, thanks for hosting Chief Pigskin. Any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was fantastic talking football today. So.
All right. Well, this has been a great trip to Wisconsin, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And then we're hoping to maybe come back and visit in season for a big rivalry game.
That'd be fantastic.
So good luck to you guys.